One of the unions, of course, that stood up to raise their voices around what should happen around the leadership question was none other than the Metal Workers Union, which you'll remember from the COSATU days, NUMSA. It is now part of this new federation, and it is likely, in terms of the numbers, it already looks likely to be the majority union inside SAFTU. Let's speak now to its General Secretary, and that is Irvin. Mr. Jim, thank you very much for giving us your time. The leadership question was a stumbling block to the beginning of this conference, and you stood up quite clearly and you said, please do not plunge us. These were your words. Don't plunge us into an unnecessary crisis. Where is the crisis here, or what were the issues? Arranged leadership or democratically elected leadership?
Well, we agree with everybody. This is the first new federation that we're launching since we were dismissed in COSATU. And I must say that we're very pleased to be here. We're very happy. We're in a celebratory mood that finally we're delivering the new federation that we promised workers. But I mean, pulling together leadership, we think that we must maintain worker control principle, not in theory, in practice. We will obviously, because we come from different traditions, we've got different unions that are here, it's going to be important that we must persuade each other, we must debate, we must discuss, we must make sure that we emerge with leadership that will do work.
In the interest of time, I want you to confirm for me what the nub of the issue was. Arranged leadership or democratically elect this leadership? Was that the issue? Well,
we affirm that we should emerge here with a democratically elected leadership.
Whereas people wanted what?
Well, there has been a debate about whether we can, should we continue to have an item on the agenda, or should we not have an item on the agenda, which means that we could engage each other, persuade each other until such time we have leadership. We of the view that we must have an item on the agenda. Obviously, a democratic process must take place where we influence each other, and we think that we can have both. We must be able to have a democratic process of electing leadership, but at the same time we must be able to persuade each other to emerge with the leadership that will take the new federation forward.
Is Xoli Mngambi likely to lead this conference, or this new federation rather? Is he likely to be the General Secretary of SAFTU?
I must say he is likely to be the General Secretary of SAFTU. We're not too much obsessed with the question of leadership. We're more obsessed with the content of the program, what will emerge with here, but the question of who will lead that program is a very critical issue for us, because it's one thing to emerge with program. If you don't have leadership to actually implement, meaning waking up in the morning, be in factories, recruit workers, take up campaigns that workers have been actually looking for a forest and a shield to defend them, we will be running in a problem if we do not prioritize the question of leadership.
You talk about the content of this new federation, and one of the niggling questions is whether or not it is going to be apolitical, meaning that it is going to be independent of political influence, because where you come from, that was the issue that actually, I would venture to say, got you expelled, because you were clear that you're not going to support the ANC anymore. So, having come from that history, is this federation going to likely partner or going into an alliance with a political party, and who might that be?
You must understand that you're asking this question from NUMSA. NUMSA has been expelled, and one of the things that we are not playing hide and seek about, we are not playing hide and seek about the fact that the time has come for the working class to organize itself as a class for itself. This new federation, in our view, it is not a new federation to reform capital. It is a new federation to take up battles in the interest of workers, take them to the street to fight, but at the same time it must raise their levels of consciousness. NUMSA at the same time, parallel to this process, we are rolling a workers' party, which is not necessarily this new federation, which is independent. From where we're sitting is that this new federation must be independent, it must be militant, it must be led and champion a revolution. It can be apolitical in our view, but it must maintain independent. To even if NUMSA itself were to have a workers' party, that workers' party would have to earn the respect and loyalty of the workers by actually taking up the interests of the working class, by raising their levels of consciousness for the revolution to take place.
One of the issues that got you expelled from COSATU was the issue of scope creep. How's that going to be handled here?
I think there were two things that got us expelled. We said Zuma must go, and the ANC neoliberal agenda was a problem. People didn't want to listen to us. Secondly, we raised the, and you will agree with me that all of them now, they have no guts to say, sorry, NUMSA, we were correct. It's okay. Secondly, we raised the issue that capital globally has restructured. As a result, we felt it was important that the policy of one industry, one union, without taking into account that capital has basically attacked hard-won gains of workers, was at risk. And therefore, we needed to reorganize ourselves differently. From where we're sitting, NUMSA will remain firm. In the sectors where we organize, we will remain in those particular sectors where we were expelled.
We are out of time, but I must put this question to you. Very importantly, the relationship between unions and their investment companies or investment arms. How's that relationship going to be managed? Because in COSATU, it has ravaged those unions.
I can say that NUMSA is a union that is steeped on the working class ideology. We're very clear that there is a complete separate relationship between NUMSA and the investment company. But in 1998, we had to debate and discuss that can we only improve benefits and conditions of workers by purely just waiting for collective bargaining. We felt it was important that we should crystallize an investment company. Its role and responsibility is to make money. The resources they generate, they must improve benefits and conditions of workers. They must make sure that our members, over and above extended collective bargaining we're doing, our members should be able to take their sons and daughters to universities. That's the responsibility we have for the investment company. It can't determine the course of direction and our political outlook as a union.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. The NUMSA General Secretary, Irvin Jim.